If you keep sheep on a small scale, every square foot of pasture is precious to you. So in this video, I'm showing you a method that we're using with our 1 1/4 homestead of what we do with our pasture during the winter time to make sure that when we cast seed in the late winter and spring, we have a better shot of having a much richer and much denser pasture. If you're new to the channel, I talk about small-scale sheep keeping all the time, but we are a full-scale homestead. Chickens, rabbits, gardening, sheep. If any of that is up your alley, consider subscribing. But today specifically, we're going to be talking all about how to make your pasture the best possible and everything that you can do in the winter to make that happen. Let's get to it. So the pasture is the lifeblood of your ruminant system. Ruminants, that's where they eat, that's where they poop, that's where they ruminate. It is everything that they need to survive. And if you're like me and you have a small lot, and I'll be clear on that, the big time producers will not care about this video, but if you have a small lot, I would say anything under 5 acres, this is something that you might want to consider during the winter time. Yes, it is winter time. I don't have a lot of snow on the ground right now. Maybe we can get the mountains behind me. Yeah, pretty mountains. But it is winter time right here. It kind of flurried a little bit earlier today. So in the winter time, if you've got a small pasture, you got no grass and you're putting out hay for them. I have alfalfa that I'm throwing out. I would prefer an alfalfa like Timothy mix, but you get what you get. And what my problem is that I've been living here for about 1.5 years, and so we've had 1 full year here, and my pasture, especially my back pasture, which I'm in right now, you can see my front pasture is over there. The front pasture is pretty great in terms of forage. The back pasture, especially the back half of my back pasture, is almost garbage. There are bare spots that are 10 feet by 10 feet, and it's just too hard to broadcast seed onto that. So I'm going to show you exactly what we do to make sure that when we throw out seed, we can guarantee a lush pasture. And here it is. It all has to do with hay. So back here, I have had traditionally just very, very poor pasture. You can kind of see right here, just huge gaps in the grass to soil level. So basically, what this does is this was hay. I would call it more straw now, but it basically provides a really excellent mulch to where when I broadcast seed into these really, really sparse grass areas, the seed has somewhere to go, and it provides a nice mat to hold down water, but not so thick as to suppress the seeds. So really the science to how I figure this out is look for a dead spot in the grass, and that's where you feed the sheep. And I'm going to show you how I do that in a little bit. But you can see areas like this. So this is kind of where I just dumped out some of the spent hay. It's a little bit thicker. Not even wearing my farm boots today. How embarrassing. Just wearing my Adidas. So you can see like they won't eat that. I don't want them to eat that. It's wet. The idea is really just kick it over. If you're looking for something scientific, it's not this video. But I do want to talk about something great about this is where your sheep eat, it's where they poop a lot of the times too. So this is really, really rich ground. And then you have all that nutrients that this alfalfa has picked up that will leach into the ground. So incredibly useful. As you know, it's passing its nitrogen back into the ground, which, if you know about nitrogen, the superpower of nitrogen is that it creates a lot of green growth. So what makes grass good? It's the greens, right? You can see we've done this. You can see kind of spots, like there's one in the back, another one next to it, another one right up front. So we're looking at 7 spots right here. 8, 9 over there. Really, each spot takes about 3 to 4 days to build up. So something that I want to clarify is that if you have hay you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, why are you doing this? Like, why are you just throwing this on the ground? That seems like an incredible waste of hay. And I used to think that. The problem is that sheep are notoriously picky eaters, even not in the wintertime. And so on the homestead here, what we're really trying to do is take what is spent hay and stuff that they don't want to eat, and put it on the ground and let it serve them later in the year. So it'd be great if they ate every last ounce of hay. They just don't do that unless you really make them desperate. So to all you haters out there that think that seems like an awful waste of hay, it's not. Throw this over the fence. They're like, hey, where's the hay? So what I'm really doing here is I'm looking for bad spots in the pasture. Now my front pasture is a little bit better than my back pasture. You see I've already covered a lot of ground back there. But for example, spots, let me step further back. You can see spots like this are very, very bare. You can see here's kind of another spot. There's another spot that could use it. Oh, bam. Right here is another spot, as well as right there, right there. So this always happens when I move them to a new paddock. They kind of have a little derby. So what I'm going to do is I'll choose this spot for today. What I'll do is I can see that right here and right here are two spots that I can cover with one feeding. So the idea here is to grab this bucket. They think I have hay. I will, you'll get it. I'll put it down. I usually feed twice a day, but I'm giving them 3 smaller meals today for the sake of filming. So these are lucky girls. So here comes the easy part. You just let them eat. So the awesome part about this is you're going to get this amazing ground cover spot with some hay. And the spent hay is basically the stuff that they don't want to eat. You can see this girl is picking down deep, even though there's plenty of stuff on top. She knows what she wants, and it's basically just going to start falling out the top of this. And as the snow hits it, when it's on the ground, as they trample over it, it creates a really pretty mat that they can essentially pat down. And so toward the end of winter, first part of spring, I can throw seed out on there. Okay, let's check back in with these girls. They've been eating for about 5 minutes now, and you can see that they're already starting to get messy, which is exactly what we want. Exactly what we want. So they're having a good time. Again, I do this 2 to 3 times a day, usually 2 times a day. And in about 3 to 4 days, we are in business, totally ready to go. We'll move it to a next spot. Okay, so let's say your pasture is excellent. It does not need any help. There are no bare spots. What do you do with all this spent hay? So glad you asked. Let me show you. That's what these girls are for. We throw them to our hens. We have, you can see the difference in our pasture versus where they're at right now. We basically treat their chicken run as a compost system. And you really can't get much better than this. So if you can kind of see little flecks of it, that, sometimes I'll throw spent hay out here, and what the chickens don't eat, what the sheep don't eat, the chickens will, or at least they will turn it into compost, which we're all about that. All right, there you have it. If you have weak pasture, I highly recommend doing this. We plan to throw out a good mix of soils. We've got some ryegrass. We have some winter rye that we're saving until fall. We have some sorghum Sudan grass that we're throwing in. Red clover, oh my gosh, red clover is my favorite item on the pasture. If you don't know about red clover, I'm going to throw a link up here in the video. Please watch that and consider it for your pasture, especially if you have sheep. It is a super cover crop for sheep. But yeah, that's essentially it. So in about a month to 6 weeks, we're going to be broadcasting some of our early seed, and we're going to be seeing how it goes. So continue to watch the channel, continue to watch the pasture, and I will see you on that next video. Thanks for stopping by the High Mountain Homestead today.